Hello, and thank you for joining us for Glow Academy's Parent University Community Connections. My name is Meredith Staley. I am the school social worker at Glow, and our goal with these videos is to introduce you to some really incredible organizations who are working really hard to serve our community. So today we're going to be turning a spotlight on the topic of parenting during a pandemic. It's very relevant for the here and now that we're in. So I am joined today by Alex Hayson. She is the child therapist and forensic interviewer at the Carousel Center. So thank you so much for joining us today, Alex. And if you could just tell us a little bit about the work that the Carousel Center is doing in our community.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Meredith. The Carousel Center is our local child advocacy center. So we serve New Hanover, Brunswick, and Pender counties. And so what we do is we serve children and families that have experienced some form of trauma, either abuse or neglect. We provide therapy service to both kiddos and parents, and then also we conduct what's called child and medical evaluations. So we work closely with DSS and law enforcement.
Wow, you guys stay really busy, I'm sure. And you guys work really hard to support families in particular in our community. And it goes without saying that right now parents have a lot on their plate. A lot of them are still managing jobs outside the home, some transitioned working from home, some dealing with the loss of employment. So what kind of tips would you give to parents on how they can best manage their own stress so that they can best support their kids during this time?
Yeah, and what a great point is that right now is a really difficult time, especially for parents. Parents are trying to figure out their own employment, their own jobs, their own financial stressors, while also supporting kids at home with online schoolwork. And so if we kind of think about that for a minute as just this pressure cooker that we're on, that our parents are in, and the pressure is just the temperature is going higher and higher with all of the stress that's happening and the social isolation. So it is really important for us as parents to take care of ourselves. I love this idea of if you go on a plane, they make you put the adult's mask on before the kids, just because if we don't take care of ourselves, it's really hard for us to be there for our kids. So, right now it's so important with being isolated is to stay connected. And so how can we find connection as parents, whether it's connection by phone to really close friends, to really close family, if we have access to internet, if we could do either some type of FaceTime or Skype, where we can stay connected with our supports that we have. And just a reminder that we're not alone, that there are people out there that have our backs. And it's also really important too, is to kind of lean into things that help manage our stress. So whether that's, going for a walk, it could be, doing stretches in the morning, just any way that we could help take care of ourselves. And one thing that's helpful is just to kind of notice and check in with our bodies. And so what does our bodies feel like when we're stressed, and how can we notice when we realize that our bodies are stressed, and what can we do to help manage that?
Yeah, that's so important. And it's also important, sounds like, to model for our kids how to recognize that what's going on inside is causing stress or anxiety, and then modeling healthy ways of dealing with that.
Exactly.
That's great. So what are some strategies or techniques that parents could use to help their child maybe regulate some of these difficult emotions and feel more grounded during this time?
Yeah. And so if we go back again, is that if we think about regulation in children, is that we want to first, as parents, make sure that we regulate ourselves. So if we think about ourselves as these teacups, and our kids have teacups too. And sometimes kids have smaller teacups because they're kids. And so when we experience stress, our teacups overflow. And so because our kids have smaller teacups, their teacups overflow very faster than us. And so we want to make sure that our teacup is empty to catch their teacup that's overflowing. And so we first want to regulate ourselves as parents. And then to move into something, like you said, just something that we could ground ourselves in the moment, whether that really spending time outside, whether it's exercising. If you think about kids right now, they're used to being in school, they're used to being active, and now they're stuck at home. And so what can we do to help ground our bodies? There's also this really great exercise that's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 that anybody can practice. And so if we think about, if we're getting really stressed, how we could kind of center our thoughts is we could think about 5 things that we see. So looking around the room or wherever we are, naming 5 things we see. We also want to move to 4 after that. And so 4 would be 4 things we touch. So we want to touch 4 things in our room. Then we move to 3 things we hear. So if we just quiet our minds for a minute and we think about just 3 things we hear, whether it's outside or the air conditioning or yourself talking. And then 2 is 2 things that you smell. And then 1, you could do 1 thing that you taste, or if you're not eating or drinking anything, you could also do 1 thing that you like about yourself. And so that's just a really quick and easy way to ground yourself in the moment, and something fun with kids.
Yeah, that's really practical and seems like a good grounding, get you in the here and now kind of moment. Because I think a lot of our brains are probably in the what's going to happen in the future, or the stress of the past. But that's a really cool strategy. Thank you for sharing that one.
Yeah.
So when a child is dealing with a difficult emotion, maybe like sadness or anger, or loneliness, what would you say a supportive response from a parent would look or feel like to that child?
It's really important, I think, and sometimes it's really hard to do this, is that we don't want to dismiss these feelings or these thoughts that kids are having. Even though to us as adults, we might think they're silly and unrealistic, it's really important for us to remember that that is real for them. They're really feeling sadness or guilt or anger, and they really believe that these thoughts that they're having. So I think the number 1 thing is to acknowledge how they're feeling, to come from a place of understanding. So, saying something as easy as, I know you're really sad right now because you don't get to go and visit with your friends. But I'm trying to keep you safe because there's a really scary germ out there. And so just acknowledging that, and then also helping them identify their feelings. So if you notice that they are really upset, helping them identify what they're feeling. So it looks like you're really mad right now. And I know that schoolwork is really hard. And sometimes that can make you feel really angry because it's different than what it is normally like when we're actually in school. And then also after that, trying to problem solve. So after acknowledging how they feel, how can we problem solve to help them feel better, whether that's doing an exercise, whether that's doing something that the kiddo likes to do, anything that can help them out. And what that does is that also creates connection between the child and the parent, which is the most important connection any child can have.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Just giving children kind of the vocabulary to name these big things that are going on inside their minds and bodies. Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Alex, for sharing your wisdom and expertise, and just for all the incredible work that the Carousel Center does in our community. I know that you guys make a huge impact on the families that you work with. So we're grateful for you.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And for anybody watching who wants more information about Glow Academy, if you are not familiar, please go on to our website, check us out. We are still enrolling for the 2020-2021 school year, and we would love to answer any questions that you might have. So feel free to go online, check us out, and call us if you have any questions.